Hello and welcome back. Let's chat today about some of the resources that I used in my first year of sketching and trying to capture the elusive human figure on paper. For someone just starting out, this video might be useful. As I list each resource, I'm going to give it a rating of 5, and I'm going to try to list things I liked and disliked about it. Hopefully it will help you in making a more informed opinion. Before I start though, I want to mention that I think each of these resources is actually incredible in its own way. I'm not rating them on the quality of information. If it was just that, they would all be 5 out of 5. But I do feel that some of them were more friendly towards beginners than others, so I'm rating each one of them on how helpful I found them as a complete beginner last year. But it's important to remember that we all learn in different ways, and even beginners will be all at different levels. As I said in this video here, teaching materials are just like shoes. Just because they're not the right fit for me doesn't mean they will be the wrong fit for everyone else, and it certainly doesn't make them bad. So don't just take my word for it, explore these resources yourself and see what you feel about them. I'll be covering things in the order that I discovered them. Make sure to stick around till the end because ironically I found some of the best resources towards the end of the first year. And we're starting with the classic, George Bridgman, Constructive Anatomy. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of grief for this one, but I don't think Bridgman is actually any good for complete beginners. The text alone in that book is enough to send you into artistic coma. However, this book is actually pure gold, but it's better to save it for a little bit later. If you're just starting out, maybe skip this one and save yourself some sanity. I give this book 1 star out of 5 for a complete beginner. Andrew Loomis, figure drawing for all it's worth. This starts well, eh? Okay, just like George Bridgman, Andrew Loomis is an amazing artist. In fact, I think Andrew Loomis was one of George Bridgman's students, and his ideas are super useful. I'm actually using Loomis's methods in my ZBrush sculpts. That said though, his drawings are really technical. As a beginner you might struggle copying his art, and that might leave you feeling frustrated. At least that's what's happened to me. I tried to copy his art and learn from it, but I quickly became disheartened and dropped it. I'll give this book 2 stars out of 5 for a complete beginner. At least the text here is easy to read and follow, but the illustrations in this one are maybe just a little bit too technical when you're just starting out. Alright, number 3, Michel Lauricella, the Morpho pocket books. This one is called Skeleton and Bone Reference Points, and this one is called Fat and Skin Folds. As you can see, these books are not very big. They're light on text and heavy on illustration, and strictly speaking they're not a complete drawing manual, but more of a pocket reference book for anatomy, and for that they're truly great. They do break down much of the anatomy into simpler shapes and volumes, so you can pick up some really great ideas and tips here by just copying the drawings. And the Fat and Skin Folds one is a really cool resource. That's actually not a subject that is often covered very much in depth in any of the other anatomy books that I've seen. Also, these books are the ones that kickstarted my daily sketching routines, and I'm really thankful to them for that. I think in combination with other resources these are really great, but I can't recommend them as a standalone learning resource. I'm not gonna give them any rating because strictly speaking I don't think these books work as a standalone drawing manual, but they are really good books. Proko. Okay, we're getting to the good stuff now. Proko, Stan Prokopenko, was the first structured online resource that I followed for drawing. It has a ton of great information, and the best part about it, a huge chunk of it is available absolutely for free. In fact, that's the part that I have followed. Now you may ask, if I'm so positive about it, why didn't I pay for the full course? Well, here come some of my subjective issues with the way Proko is teaching things. He gives the information out in these little blocks. They're very informative, they're very easy to digest and practice for a beginner. However, each one is very much self-contained, and I feel they're a little bit disconnected. It's a little bit like getting a bunch of IKEA or Lego parts without any sort of manual, and you have to figure out how to put things together from that. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with this approach. In fact, a lot of artists might prefer it to try and figure out how these pieces of puzzle fit, and in the long run maybe it makes them better artists because they had a greater degree of freedom and they figured things out by themselves. However, if you're anything like me and you want an exact sequence of steps that gets you from point A to point B, then the next one might be the good one for you. I'll give Stan Prokopenko's course 3.5 stars out of 5. Again, this is my personal subjective view. There are people for whom this will be exactly what they want, and I still think you should do at least the free section of Stan's course because it will help you out in a lot of ways. Proko is not only a teacher and artist himself, he also runs a really great resource for artists, Proko.com. There he has collected some of the best teachers and courses online aimed at helping you to improve your art. Once you buy a course, you have an access to it for life. This is a really welcome change to all the subscription model art schools out there online, and a really great feature for the people who want to learn at their own pace and might not be able to commit full time to studying. The resource also has a library of high quality photographs to be used as a reference and a lot of other handy materials for an artist. Why am I bringing this resource up? Well, because the next course that I took was actually one of the courses provided at Proko.com, and it's a Michael Hampton's figure drawing course. While Michael teaches many of the same concepts that Stan does, he does it in a slightly different way. On top of explaining each block individually, he adds a very clear progression route, so you get a clear structure and an understanding of how each new block of information is used to build upon the previous one. I also have to say I do prefer his gimmick-free teaching approach. There's no filler, just straightforward great advice. This course gets my absolute recommendation if you want to get into gesture and constructive drawing. It's friendly enough for beginners, but it goes also into more advanced territory. There's plenty of information here to revisit once you improve. The one small drawback that I had with this course is that Michael is using digital drawing to show the concepts, and while most of the things will translate well to the pencil and paper, certain things took me a little bit of time to work around. If you want to check out Michael Hampton's teaching style before you commit to buying this course, do check out his free YouTube channel. He puts a lot of really great information on there. I give this course a solid 4 out of 5 stars. New Masters Academy, otherwise known simply as NMA, it's another great resource for artists out there. The wealth of knowledge contained in this one is enormous, and it can leave you feeling a little bit overwhelmed. There are multiple courses by a whole array of teachers and different learning paths to take. NMA, however, does a really great job at providing a navigation map for all its courses and outlining what are the best paths to take depending on your goals. One immediate drawback of NMA, however, is that it is a subscription-only service. You can't just buy one single course that you're interested in and keep it for a lifetime. They do, however, have some really great discounts sometimes, so do keep an eye out for those if you want to sign up. The course that I went with here was Iliya Mirochnik's Russian academic drawing approach. This course is split into 4 levels, each one progressively harder than the previous one. The first level is the drawing fundamentals, and that's the one that I did. It doesn't really go into figure drawing, it focuses on, well, fundamentals. Iliya goes over materials, the setup, basics of drawing, perspective, and shading. You finish this part of the course by drawing an Azaros planar head. It is a very traditional course and a very in-depth dive into all the basics. And while it's a little bit on the slower side and might take you a little bit of patience and time to get through it, I think it's totally worth it. I do hope to come back to the other 3 levels of his course at a later stage, because I think Iliya is a great teacher and he's really good at explaining the concepts. The caveat to this course is that I think ideally it is meant to be studied at an art studio or an atelier in front of an easel with some casts in front of you with good lighting. While NMA provides photographic reference and some really good 3D scans, you will find it a little bit hard to adapt this to home use. However, it is the next best thing to actually studying fundamentals at an art school. I give this one solid 4 stars out of 5. And this brings us to the very last resource that I found in the first year of sketching. But oh, how I wish that this was the first one. I can't say enough good things about it. For an absolute beginner who wants to get into figure drawing, this here is the absolute holy grail. Kenzo is a really amazing teacher with a rare gift to break down complex concepts into some really easy to follow explanations. This is a 10-day drawing challenge, but it doubles up as a mini course that will take you from absolute zero and end with you being able to sketch some pretty convincing poses. And the best part about it, it is absolutely free. Kenzo also provides some paid-for courses for those willing to dive in further. I didn't have the chance to look into those myself yet, but if they're anything like the free course, I think they would be a great value for the money. This free course is a solid 5 out of 5 stars. In my opinion, every beginner that is interested in sketching human form should start with this one before they do anything else. And this here wraps up this video. I hope that you will find some useful information here that will help you navigate your own path. Keep awesome, keep creative, and I'll see you in the next one.